Hello and welcome to liveconfident.com. And today, in this live stream, I want to talk to you about the realities of overcoming shyness and beating social anxiety. Because I see the question asked over and over again in many different variations, and over a long period of time I've seen them cropping up in different forums on the internet, and they come in such forms as: has anyone here overcome their shyness or social anxiety? How did you do it? Was it possible? What did you do? What therapy did you take? Did you go to the doctor? Did you go to a therapist? What did they do? What did they say? What did they prescribe you? Did you take some drugs? What drugs did you take? Did they work for you? What dosage did you take? What was the side effects? And on, and the questions come in multiple different variations, and the people asking it are looking for hope. They're looking for some guidance and some way forward and belief that it is possible. And as many variations as the question comes up, there's just as many variations in the answer. Some people will say, yes, you can beat it, you can overcome it. This is what I did, and this is how much it worked for me. Some people will say, yeah, you can reduce the effects, but you can't overcome it totally. You can make it manageable. You can dial down the intensity of it. Other people will say, no, it's not possible to overcome it. You have to learn to live with it. Make friends with it. But you can't overcome it. And it's these kind of comments that make me personally cringe, because I don't want to make friends with social anxiety. I want it out of my life. I want it gone. I don't want it to be influencing how I interact with the world. And I did. For many, many years I did. For me, it began around about the ages between 10 and 12. It started evolving into social anxiety, and it wasn't until I got into my mid to late 20s when I hit rock bottom and I thought, I just can't live this way any longer. I was just going down and down, further and further, and my life was a train wreck. And when I hit rock bottom, when something happened and I was there as low as I could possibly get, and there was nobody around to give me a hand back up, I found a springboard, and I found a determination, and I found a spark that ignited my determination and my motivation to reclaim my life and to take back control. As I thought, well, I'm 25, 26, around about that age. I thought, well, there's 30, maybe 40 odd years of life left, and what am I going to do? Nobody's going to hand the answer to me on a plate. I don't want people giving me handouts and helps. I want to be the one in control of my own life, and it's that cause and effect. If you're blaming the world for your condition, you're living at effect where the world affects you. But if you're living on the cause side of the cause-effect principle, then you're causing the events in your life. You're responsible. You're taking responsibility for it. And that's where I wanted to be. I didn't want to be blaming other people for my situation. I wanted to be the one causing my own luck, my own opportunities. Living at effect, you stand back and watch the opportunities walk by you, and you don't grab them, do you? And that's what it's all about. That's what shyness and social anxiety really does to you. It forces you to stand back and watch as life passes you by. And the opportunities, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a promotion at work, and you sit back and you watch it walk by and you do nothing about it. You don't reach out and try and grab it and make it your own. And that's what shyness and social anxiety does. And that's why it's so important that you don't make friends with it or learn to live with it, but to actually overcome it, reduce it to its a little dots where you can put it in a box and throw it to the back of your mind, or you can crush it out of your life altogether. And I'm here to tell you that you can do that. I've done it. It took me 15 years from hitting rock bottom to learning how to do it and how to get out of it. I tried every therapy going, from neuro-linguistic program to clinical hypnotherapy to CBT, to integral eye movement therapy, to timeline therapy, mindfulness, Kung Fu. I spent years training in Kung Fu, and I learned the Kung Fu philosophies, all to give me confidence. And I went to seminars for public speaking. I did a job that involved driving for 3 or 4 hours a day. And so for each of those 3 or 4 hours of every day, I listened to personal development audiobooks. And that's a lot of audiobooks over a number of years. I must have downloaded multiple MBAs into my brain over that period of time. But I want you to get a sense of what I did to overcome this, but what you don't actually need to do. You don't need to spend 15 years stumbling around in the dark. It's up to you if you take that course, or whether you follow somebody else's roadmap, which takes a certain amount of trust. Is this person selling me a book, selling me a program, just because they want to take advantage of me and take my money? Or are they genuine? Have what they've got to offer? Is it genuine? Will it work for me? So what I want to do right now is explain the formula of what I believe it takes to overcome shyness and defeat social anxiety. And it's a 3-stage formula. I call it the past, the present, the future, the PPF formula. Because first of all, you have to go back into your past and you have to treat the memories, the events which are reaching out with their tentacles from the past and strangling your opportunities in the present. They are what are causing you to sit back and just watch those opportunities walk by. Because what happened in your past is, for most people, what has triggered this slow evolution of social anxiety, which has grown and overtaken your mind, and it sits there squatting at the back of your mind, controlling you. And it's just a series of memories and triggers. So something happens in your past and you decide that your brain decides that I don't want to ever find myself in that situation again. Maybe that event was a humiliation, and your brain doesn't ever want you humiliated again. It's there to protect you. And so it prevents you from putting yourself out there in that same or similar situation where you could potentially get humiliated all over again. So that's what it does. It protects you and it stops you from grabbing those opportunities which may take you out of your comfort zone and into the potential of humiliation. And that's what it's doing. And while that may have been okay in your childhood, when your brain developed that strategy for coping with that situation, what you didn't do was change the strategy as you grew up into an adult. So as an adult, you're still running the same strategies that you developed as a child. Do you ever feel like a child in an adult world? You're running childish strategies as an adult. So of course, you're going to feel out of your depth, an imposter, or some variation of that. You can't communicate with people at the level you need to as an adult, because you've lost many years and years of opportunity for socializing, for integrating, for mixing, for developing a friend network. The social anxiety has denied that to you, and you've passed all this time without seizing those opportunities to develop yourself and your personality and every aspect of it. And so that's where you are today. And those memories in the past that have been recorded with with intense emotion for the pure reason that your brain now has a playbook to go to whenever you find yourself at risk of being in one of these situations again, and it can just go back into its playbook and say, look, if I do that, this is what's going to happen. I know this because it happened last time in the childhood. So I'm going to do everything in my power to prevent you from going into that situation. So what you need to do is scramble the memories, overwrite the memories to stop them from having that control of you in the present. And there's therapy systems that can help you do that. Neuro-linguistic program, NLP, is one of them. Timeline therapy, it's in the name, timeline. That's one that can help you. It can take you into the past and it can address these memories. You can go straight into the memory or representation of this past event, and you can scramble it. You can change the meaning of that memory so that your brain can no longer receive the same information as it was before. You can drain the emotion out of the memory. And incidentally, this is how we can treat phobias these days. It used to be that you'd have to do intense exposure therapy over a long period of time and to address a phobia and get over it. But these days it can be done in under an hour by draining the emotion out of the primary event or the earliest event that you can remember, so that the memory of it does not send messages along your nervous system back into your present telling you, hey, this is what's going to happen, back away, don't do it. So that's stage one, the past. We have to address the memories. We have to switch them off. And then you move into the present. And this is where you have to build confidence strategies. So you've just got rid of the social anxiety, the shyness strategies. But if you don't replace them, you've left a void in your brain, remember, where there was strategies for coping with certain daily events. You've just got rid of them. So now you need to replace them. Otherwise, what are you going to do when that event comes along? Maybe it's just seeing your boss. Maybe before you had an anxious response to whenever the boss comes to visit. And now you've no longer got that trigger response because we scrambled the memories that are causing it to happen. But you've left a void, so how do you now respond to your boss? And unless you put some strategies in place to do that, sooner or later, the shyness and social anxiety is going to come back in and fill the void because you failed to. And this is why yo-yo dieters fail so often, and why smokers may spend hundreds of attempts overcoming smoking, because they used sheer willpower to reach their target, but then they never got rid of the strategies in their head why they were smoking in the first place. I mean, you've got triggers in your environment for smoking. Maybe it's after a meal, maybe it's a time of day, lunchtime, and you suddenly start craving a cigarette, and you've got an automatic reaction of lifting a cigarette to your mouth and putting something in your mouth and feeling the relaxation as you do so. Now you've suddenly got rid of that, and there's nothing there to replace it, and your brain is looking for something. It needs something to do instead of the smoking. So what do? In terms of smoking, you can replace it with something like chewing gum. Carry a packet of chewing gum around and start chewing whenever you get that craving for the cigarette. Chew a gum instead. When it comes to shyness and social anxiety, you have to put in new strategies, confidence strategies, or whatever it is that you want to replace. Maybe it's strategies of being assertive or some variation. But generally, you want to be confident, right? Because this is the reverse of the shyness, which is low self-esteem, shyness, anxiety, etc. And you want to be confident. When the boss comes to visit, you want to be confident. Okay, so this is stage 2. Build confidence strategies embed them in your brain so that it becomes an automatic habit to experience confidence, where previously you would have experienced anxiety. So that's stage 2. Now we move on to stage 3, and this is social skills and conversation skills. Because, of course, as I said before, you may have spent many, many years missing opportunities to develop your social skills. So, have you ever been told to just speak up more? Do exposure therapy. Get yourself out there. Speak more, interact more. This is exposure therapy, but you're going straight in. People are advising you to jump straight in at level 3 of the formula without dealing with stages 1 and 2. And you're diving straight in. Or they're advising you to go straight in at level 3 and start talking to people. But you're going out there without the tools to do so. You haven't developed the social skills, the strategies, the conversation skills in order to do so. So you put yourself out there. And what happens? Well, you may be now feeling confident if you've gone through stages 1 and 2. But you still don't have the conversation, the patter, the banter to be able to deal with this situation. You've put yourself in a group of people and they're all talking away and they look to you for your input, or they wait for your input. But you still don't have the social skills, the conversation skills in order to do that. So this is stage 3. You have to develop the social skills, the conversation skills, and build them on top of the platform of confidence that you built at stage 2. So this is it. This is the 3 stages. Past, present, future. Eliminate the social anxiety. Build confidence. Develop social skills. And many therapies have, well, they will address either 1 or 2 of these stages. They might do it in the wrong order. So when people say, yeah, you can try this and it will help, and of course it might help, but it's only addressing 1 of the stages, which is why it's not overcoming the social anxiety. It's maybe helping, and sooner or later you'll just revert back to how you were before, because maybe you was going to a therapist and now they've helped you as much as they can, and you've left the therapist, and now the old strategies are coming back in because you didn't deal with stage 1. So this is it. This is the reality of what it takes to overcome shyness and social anxiety. But I said, you don't have to spend 15 years trying to do it in the dark like I did, because I've developed the mental health master plan, and you can see it for yourself on the lifeconfident.com website. There's 24 sessions, 8 sessions for each stage of the PPF formula, and it's a 6-month program. Each session is designed to be done over a 1-week period, and it'll have a 7-day challenge for experiential learning, and you won't have to go out and do exposure therapy until you've been through certain stages and you've got the tools in your toolbox and the confidence to be able to do the exposure therapy. Because you do it without the tools, you go back to how you were, but even worse, because you've got lower self-esteem, because it didn't work for you. And it's at this stage where people are advising others that no, it's not possible to overcome this, because they put themselves out there and they tried and it failed. But for them, they didn't do the previous stages. So go take a look at it. Remember what I said, 6 months is the minimum term it takes to overwrite a habit. And 2 years is really the ideal full length. The mental health master plan runs for 6 months. There's other stuff you can do after if you feel like continuing. But the core program is 6 months. 1 session per week. Take a look at it if you're inspired to do so. Or, if not, keep plugging into my live streams, and I'll be throwing out different information, different strategies, different helps, different perspective and experiences, and you'll pick stuff up. There's all stuff out there on the internet. There's loads of free stuff, but each piece of information is like one piece of a jigsaw, and trying to find all the pieces of the jigsaw from the internet, and each piece of the jigsaw is coloured by that person's perspective, that person that threw that piece of the jigsaw out there for you. So trying to gather all the information you need from all these different sources across the internet in itself is going to take you 15 years to do. Look, I know, I've been there and I've done it. But I'm just telling you this to put you in the picture from my perspective. And I hope this has been useful to you. And I hope you'll go forward, and regardless of whether you try the mental health master plan or you go with another therapy system, now you know that you need to address the past before you do other strategies like CBT that works more in the present. Gratitude journals, for instance, that is one thing you'll do in CBT, but you're getting thrown in there at stage 2, remember, and it's bypassing stage 1, and you must address stage 1. And if you don't, if you bypass it and go to stage 2 and 3, it's going to be squatting there in the back of your head, waiting for you to take your foot off the accelerator and to relax, thinking that you've done it, you've cracked it, you're there. It's going to be there in the back of your mind, waiting for that moment when you relax and your mind opens up and lets it back in. That's just a little warning from me, and I hope you'll take it on board. And if you do nothing else, you'll do this in the right order. Okay, thanks for listening.